Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Hello, everyone. We're so glad that you joined us today, and I am just so grateful for our co-hosts. And today we have Dr. Jill Hubbard and JJ West joining us. And, Jill, I know that you are such a wise woman, and I always love hearing from you. What would you like to share with our listeners today?
Well, I have been thinking on this February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, really about Valentine's Day and kind of wanting to do a post-Valentine's Day check-in with everybody and just kind of see how everybody is feeling after this day. I know last year I brought up this topic and some people seem to appreciate it in terms of kind of reframing the holiday for ourselves. I absolutely love holidays, and it's always a shame when others rob us of a holiday. And one of the things I tried to instill in my kids is that holidays, birthdays, they are what you make it. And so if we're looking to other people to make us feel special on any certain given time, we're probably going to be disappointed. And I think that Valentine's Day can be a setup for that. And certainly, the media plays into that, and it's so pushed as we think about it as for romantic love. So last year I was talking about the idea of Valentine's Day just being about love in general and being an opportunity to express love to anybody we love, all kinds of relationships. I love being able to let my friends know how much I care about them. And so if you're sitting here the day after Valentine's Day saying, "Guy, that really wasn't great. I really hate Valentine's Day." I'm getting ahead of myself. You have an opportunity now to evaluate and reflect. So whenever we have gone through something and we don't like how it came out, let's reflect and do it differently. So how can we make a vow for next year to take charge of our Valentine's Day, to have it be more a day that we would like, to give to others in a way that we wish we were being given to, and in a sense, be the self we are looking for others to affirm. And so thinking about everybody needs to feel special. Everybody wants to feel loved. And deep down, there's that wish that maybe somebody will validate in us how special and loved we really are. So do that for others and vow next year to initiate that instead of perhaps waiting to receive that. And in doing so, I think you get back so much more. And you take it captive. Don't let it be robbed. I mean, it's often a day, too, where people that are in illicit relationships are often sappy and sloppy. And so we don't want it to be their day. We want it to be a day for each of us to feel love and to offer love.
I also think about, the greatest commandment, right, is that we are to love others. And not just as we love ourselves, but as God loves us. Yes. And he loves us so very much. And so maybe yesterday didn't work for you, but today is a new day.
Yep.
And you can begin to express love. I love that idea too, Jill, of just being mindful of expressing love, because we do need to experience love, and we need a lot more love in this world. And we either need to be giving it or we need to be receiving it, because sometimes that's a challenge too, right? Is just to be able to receive the love from other people. Well, we are grateful for the love of God in our lives, and we're grateful that we are able to express it here. We're going to go to the callers after this break. Thanks for listening.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are in, you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Intensive is Saturday, March 16th. Steve Arterburn, Chris Williams, and Dr. Jackie Mack Harris will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or register online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
I'm Steve Arterburn with a New Life Moment. In 1948, Jackie Robinson became the first African American to play Major League Baseball. He faced stiff opposition. Pitchers threw at him. Base runners dug their spikes into his shin. Fans mocked him, and some even wrote death threats. To endure this mistreatment, you'd have to be a scrapper. Robinson was certainly no exception. He was proud and competitive, and he also knew the right way to fight, and that's what set him apart. Before being allowed to play, Jackie was asked what he'd do if another player hit him on the cheek, and he answered, "Sir, I have two cheeks." Robinson knew great strength. The kind necessary to accomplish truly great things is demonstrated in meekness and forbearance. With that strength, he changed the face of America's favorite pastime, and in the process helped change the face of America. Do you want to learn more about strength? Well, visit me at newlife.com. I'm Stephen Arterburn, and thanks for listening to this New Life Moment.
Wow, what a powerful reminder from Steve of, just about the great Jackie Robinson and the choices that he made. And it reminds me, Jill, just of what you were talking about, of choosing to love. I'm so grateful for that opportunity to minister to people. We're going to go to the calls. Well, Jill, did you have anything else that you wanted to add to that insightful opening?
Well, just the idea that if you are in a relationship, a lot of times people are aware of what they lack around a holiday, but often there are people in relationships that are feeling that lacking. And so with our intimacy in marriage intensive being this weekend, there may still be opportunity to get in, and it's the perfect place. And JJ is here, and he leads that, and it's the perfect place to change the face of your relationship.
What a great suggestion. Well, and JJ, we'll hear from you in just a minute. We're going to go to the calls, and we're going to talk with, let's talk to Gina, who's calling us from Providence, Rhode Island, listens on the podcast, and you can too. You can download the podcast wherever you get your podcast. We love our podcast listeners. If you're listening there and you want to call, we take callers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. Enough about us. Gina, how can we help you?
Hi, good afternoon. I was calling in regards to a friend that I have, a very dear friend that I've had since childhood. Over the past year, meaning last year into now, her life has just imploded. She's lost her marriage. She lost custody of her children. She's not working. When we try to encourage her to kind of, pick herself back up and let's get this going, she just has excuses as to why she can't do anything. She can't work. She can't seek counseling. She can't get help. And the other day I was listening to a show where you were referencing learned helplessness, and I know you mentioned that it has to do a lot with fear. And I'm wondering also if it has to do with anything with shame or maybe some self-sabotaging, because now we're realizing that really over the course of multiple years, she's been doing things that have self-sabotaged her to get to the place where she is now, and we just don't know how to help her.
That's hard. That's good that you're a good friend, Gina, that you're going to help her. JJ, how would you begin this, just the help for her?
Well, Gina, I think you're absolutely right. Shame plays a huge role in our unwillingness, refusal to accept help. to work on making changes. If she has experienced lots of loss, and if she has believed that she either had a hand in or maybe was the main reason, the main cause for those losses, you can understand where she might believe that anything she does is going to blow up in her face. Anything she tries is going to end in disaster. Any hope she might begin to feel is going to lead to disappointment, right? And so you do start to develop this belief about yourself that you're damaged goods, that you can't change, you can't make things better, and wouldn't the world just be better off if you just went and crawled in a hole somewhere, and you stop trying, and so I'm sad certainly for your friend, and I'm sad for the pain that it's causing you, but I'm so glad that she has you in her life, and that she has someone who, I feel like I reference this story quite a bit, but I think about, the four friends in the Synoptic Gospels who carry their paralytic friend to Jesus. And, Jesus, it says that Jesus saw their faith and then said to the paralytic, take up your mat and walk. And it was their faith that if they could get him to Jesus, that Jesus would be able to change him. And we don't know this, but it may have been against his objections, right? When they got to the house and they're like, hey, there's no way we can get in. Let's climb on the roof and dig a hole and lower him down. He may have objected to that, right? He may have been like, no, let's come back later. But they wouldn't listen to his objections. They kept bringing him to Jesus. And the fact that you are a friend like that to your friend, that you don't have to buy into her objections. You don't have to give power to those objections to agree that, oh yes, everything you touch turns to turns into a disaster. You don't have to agree with that. You can help her to see where choices that she's made have been unhealthy, have led to pain or brokenness in her life, but that if that's the case, then she can also make choices that lead to life. She can also make choices that lead to healing. She can also make choices that lead to growth. And so, to be willing to have those hard conversations that say, yes, your choices matter, but not buy into the lie that somehow you are incapable of making good choices because she's believing a lie of the enemy there, right? And to help her differentiate those two, I think is really important, that we as a good friend can come alongside our friend and say, look, here you're assessing your choices. That's good and healthy, but here you're believing a lie that says you're not able to make good choices, and that's just simply not true.
Right. And that's the hard part, is knowing how much to push her and how much I feel like not doing anything for her.
Gina, I think it really is kind of a balancing act with someone who has had this chronic of a condition. I mean, you guys are just seeing it now, but this sounds like a lifetime of sabotaging herself, and probably there's been an underlying depression that has been there with the shame, right? And it's just now she can't hide it anymore. So I think there's the idea that first, we don't want to do for others what they need to do for themselves, but we do want to come alongside and help others when they can't function. And so to be mindful of the fact that there's depression there and the shame, and it's blocking her from functioning. So that's where you want to offer to maybe do some things or come alongside her to help her get past some obstacles. At the same time, it's not going to happen in a time frame that probably would make sense to you. And so there's a lot of kind of listening, and as JJ was talking, kind of coming alongside and maybe gently challenging while at the same time being loving and non-shaming. I think about the story of Job and how initially his friends just sat with him and just listened, right? When they started to get anxious because he was taking so long, they jumped in, and you know the story. And so just kind of that balance of I'm here for you, but it's hard to see you letting all of life go, right? And to sink down, and getting her to say, what would you be willing to do? Like, let's go for a walk around the block. Let's, right? It's going to start small, but getting any movement will help to shift kind of where she's at in her brain.
Right,
Yes,
right. That's good.
Well, Jenny, you're a good friend.
Yeah.
And maybe we're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, and you can give that to her as an encouragement.
And don't we have, Becky,
well, Jill has a different, what?
Don't we have Understanding and Loving a Person with Depression?
We have that. We can send that as well. I'm just thinking in terms of empowering the friend, if, because sometimes when you get in these cycles, I was thinking of Job as well, Jill, and, they were all trying to make sense of why he was going through this. And there are times in our lives where life just be lifing. Like it is where it is. And so sometimes it's our choices, but sometimes it's just the experience of life. But you're a good friend, Gina, for calling, and we are going to be praying for your friend as well. We're going to go back to the calls, and we are going to talk with Andrew, who's calling us from Philadelphia, listens on WBYN. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good.
So, just to give you a brief bit of context, my wife and I have been married almost 15 years, and we have 4 children, the oldest being 12 and the youngest being 7. We both grew up attending public schools. She was involved. We both did sports when we were younger. She was more involved than me. I kind of stopped playing Little League and other sports to go pursue other interests in the outdoors. She continued with it and played travel, softball through her whole life. Actually went on to college and played softball. And now as we raise our own kids are all involved in sports. My oldest really took a liking to baseball, which, it's okay by me. But now we're getting of the age where he wants to start doing travel baseball. And he's getting this idea because, like I said, our kids go to public school as well. And we've talked about sending them to private school, but the funds haven't been there yet. So all of his friends at school play travel ball. Now, these are all kids that come from secular homes. They don't know the Lord, to my knowledge. So he thinks that this is okay to be, skipping church every weekend to go play travel baseball. Now, I put my foot down and say, absolutely. And I've doing travel baseball because the tournaments are Saturdays and Sundays, and we're not missing church for sports. I feel it's like a type of almost idolatry where you're putting sports ahead of worshiping God. So the problem I run into is my wife. My wife's a believer. She I have no doubt about that. But because she grew up with that, thinking it was okay. I think she grew up attending a UCC church, so they were. They were okay. Her parents were okay with her missing church for months at a time to go play in these tournaments. And because she grew up that way, she thinks I get the impression she sees no harm in it. And she doesn't back me the way I feel that she should. Sometimes actually getting mad at me when the subject comes up because it's a hard no, and I put my foot down. And for some reason, she gets angry with me, and it causes problems because she still gives me the impression that she would be open to it, and it's a source of disagreement for us. So how is the best way to get her to I hate to say it, but see it my way? I mean, I don't think it's wrong. To see
at least you're honest, Andrew. Mm-hmm. At least you're honest. JJ, let's start with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I agree, Becky. I'm glad, Andrew, that you're honest about the fact that ultimately you want her to see it your way. I appreciate your heart in saying I don't want myself as an individual, but I also don't want us as a family to have idols, to have anything that is more important to us than God. That's a really important principle to live by and to pass on to your children. So I'm appreciative of your heart there. I would start with asking your wife, for the two of you, not in the midst of the argument when your son has said once again, hey, there's this tournament this weekend, all my friends are playing, I really want to play too, why can't I? Not then, but outside of that moment, for you and your wife to sit down and talk through, you expressing, here are my concerns, but I also want to hear from you, what's behind your saying it's fine for him to go play in these tournaments? Let me understand where you're coming from. And I can hear the music, so we're going to have to probably...
Yes. Hold on, Andrew. We will be back.
The other side.
Hold on, Andrew. We will be back after this break, and we'll hear from Jill and have a further conversation. You know, parenting in the 21st century has lots of different things that come into play, but good communication between the couples is imperative. We'll be back after this.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hit with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I would have getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. You know, I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Dr. Heidi Summers on coaching.
A lot of people don't understand the difference between counseling and coaching. Coaches can help you with strategizing. Not everyone is in a crisis or recovering from a trauma. A lot of people just need help getting to where they want to be, and they don't know how to do that. And so it's helpful to have a third party come in to give objective feedback, set goals, create accountability, and help you walk out what your goals actually are.
If you need a coach for life, your career, relationships, your health and fitness, leadership, and more, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
Coaches are intended to help you live in the present and goal set toward what it is you want for the future.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and talk to us about getting a New Life coach today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are talking with Andrew, who is in the midst of raising children and the challenges of dealing with some of the choices that are in play with, travel sports teams, trying to raise the kids up in the church and all of the challenges that go with that. Andrew, let's hear from Jill. Let's see what Jill has to say about this.
Well, and Andrew, you are right. It is a challenge, and more, Sunday is not a sacred day by any means, right? So as Christians, we're being made more, uncomfortable or standing out more against the world in those ways. You're not wrong per se, right? But my fear is that you are going to win the battle and lose the war. And so I think there needs to be some openness to have dialogue on both sides and to look at, okay, yes, going to church as a family is really important. But nowadays, there are lots of opportunities at church and to be involved. And we don't want all of his spiritual input to just be, okay, because he's going to church, right? It's like we're involved in church. We're part of a body that's growing, right? And that's learning and drawing closer to the Lord. And so we go to youth group. We're involved in a small group. Maybe we go to church on a Saturday night. Maybe we're helping out in a ministry at church. Getting your kids involved in those kinds of things should also be a part of their spiritual development. And so, is there a way to have a compromise here? I don't know anything about travel ball. I don't know if it takes up every weekend of the year, or if there's a way to do some, but not every tournament, right? Are there any compromises that could be made? Because to just flat out say no, I can't tell you how many adults I see in my office where they felt like they were the weird kid because their parent made them say no to things, and it was a lot of rules without relationship. And that can be devastating to a kid's spiritual growth. It may have the opposite effect. So we want them to have a relationship with God, not just follow the rules.
And the other thing about this, Andrew, is this is your firstborn, right? We're talking about the 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because here's what I'm thinking. You know, Milan Yurkovich used to say this all the time. The oldest one is the crash test dummy. Like, we're practicing on this one. And so this big reaction that you're having right now, Andrew, is based on we haven't been down this path before. And so it's creating some anxiety and tension between you and your wife. And so I don't know if it was JJ or Jill, one of you wise people, we're talking about, let's have the conversation apart from the decision. And as we plan what is important, because guess what? At 12, he or she has some time. And so it's not, you know, maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's next year. Maybe it's the third year out. Who knows? And just getting into the conversation as opposed to this is the hill I'm going to die on. And, you know, Andrew, if you guys have 15 years in your marriage, that is something to be celebrated. You've got a beautiful family, and you don't want to get into this divisive conversation where you can't hear each other. And it's important for you to be heard, and it's important for her to be heard, and to come out somewhere, you know, in the middle.
Right. And even if you think that you're right, you don't want that to be the message, that it's just about you being right. And so that means they're all wrong, right? Henry used to say, if you always have to be right, then you're going to be left. And so I love that saying, right? So we want to really hear the other person and give them room to also be right.
Is that helpful, Andrew?
And part of the...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add, part of the way that we really listen and is if I can share back with you your perspective, if I can say it back to you and you go, yes, that's it, you've got it. Right. And so that requires reflective listening. If that's unfamiliar to you, I would invite you to pick up a copy of How We Love and learn the comfort circle.
We'll send one to you.
But that practice of reflective listening that's when Jill's talking about relationship over rules. That I express that through my ability to reflectively listen to you rather than just tell you my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Any questions about that, Andrew? You feel like you can do it?
No. Yeah, I you know what? I think I can. It's, you know, it's just, you know, like I said, it's something that I just feel passionate about. And unfortunately, I feel that 10 years ago, I didn't feel as passionate about it, but I see everything that's going on in the world, and it feels more and more important to me with each passing day, you know. 10 years ago, I would have said, you know, yes, you know.
Right, but even what the comment that Jill made about being part of a body of Christ and being part of, you know, your children's faith walk it has to be more than just an event on a Sunday. And I know you know that, but I just think that's where you're going to instill it. And even having the conversations with your kids about why I feel so passionate about this. And knowing that God loves them, Andrew, and has a call on their life as well. And as parents, you know, we want to see that lived out. There's a passage, and maybe JJ or Jill knows what it is, that says there's no greater joy than to see our children walking with the Lord. And it is such a powerful thing. So it's great that you're passionate. We want to pray for your kids, pray for you and your wife. I'm going to send you a copy of How We Love. And maybe, Andrew, you guys can take some time out and join us at Intimacy at Marriage sometime. We would love to see you there as you're in this incredible part of marriage. It is always something when we're raising kids. And you have just begun. If you have a 12-year-old, you've got all kinds of teenage fun
Yes.
coming your way. And
So
we
good
will
to
be
work
there
this
for
out
you.
now.
It exactly is. And you might not be right all the time.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I want to just remind you that we are going to do the Restore Intensive on the weekend of February 23rd and 25th in Orange County, California. This intensive is for women who've experienced sexual betrayal and the healing that is so important and the recovery that is so much a part of healing. Is we're going to talk about it. We're going to have Stacy Sadler-Smith and Laura Manja McDonald are going to be our presenters. We are actually having an alumni group. If you've already attended Restore or even Women in the Battle, we are going to invite you in for a special session. We do this at our Every Man's Battle workshop with our brothers in the battle because we know that many times in an intensive, it's not one and done. We still have work to do. We still have connections to make, and we want to be there for you. So if you, if this has been part of your story, we're sorry, but we also want to see you there because we know that there's hope and there's healing ahead for you. You can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. We have a free guide that you can download at newlife.com if you're facing recovery from sexual betrayal. And we're so grateful to be able to offer that. Right now, we're going to go back to the callers and we're going to talk to Mike, who's calling us from Colorado Springs. He listens on the podcast. Hi, Mike. How can we help you today? Thanks for calling.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to start with a question first, and then I'll give you background, because otherwise I can talk for 3 hours without taking a breath.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. So the question is, do I need to back down off the boundaries that I've set up with my 17 going on 35-year-old daughter, and just her inappropriate behaviors, because basically she's kind of shut me out for the last month, longest time ever since she was born, that I haven't had interaction or contact with her. So the background is I was married to her mom for 24 years, the last 6 of which I was separated. Her mother has borderline personality disorder, was diagnosed 4 different times, has never accepted the diagnosis, which I learned is pretty common. And I have 4 daughters, and then my 17-year-old is the last daughter. She is really mimicking her mother's behavior, and common behavior would be for her to explode, to cuss me out, to cuss her mother out, and to just be really disrespectful and inappropriate. As I have left the situation, now the 4 of the 6 years were separated, I still lived in the home. We had a very large home, so I lived in the downstairs, so I could still raise my kids. So as I've healed, I've moved into a healthier way of living, and that includes healthy boundaries that I hold with their mom, but also that I've held with my kids. And with the 17-year-old, last Thanksgiving, I was going to have her over for Thanksgiving. There was a huge blow-up, which typically happened every holiday season, or holiday anyway, with her mom. And again, mimicking the behavior, there was a huge blow-up. A lot of inappropriate things happened. And for the first time in my daughter's life, I stood my ground and said, no, that is unacceptable behavior. I'm not going to have you come over. We're not going to engage. Her sisters came over, but we're not going to engage in that kind of behavior. And you need to apologize, and we need to reconcile. And here's how we reconcile, trying to teach her a healthier way. She has put up such a fight and refuses to interact on a healthy level. And my stance is, I love you. I will be there for you. I will hug you when you get a hug. I'll talk to you on the phone and help you, give you advice, whatever. But things are not okay until we reconcile in a healthy way. And I want to model that for you. And I want to sit down with you, and she refuses because she always has to control the situations. And I know that that's been her survival. So that's kind of the background. That's where things are at. And then whatever questions you guys have and advice, I will definitely appreciate.
Okay. I just want to clarify one thing. Is she living with you or living with mom?
She lives with mom.
Okay. And how often do you see her? Like, do you share custody? She stay with you guys? What?
So I have visitation every other week, every other weekend, and every Wednesday, but we really have never adhered to that. It's more kind of, I take one of my 2 youngest daughters out on a date every other week. So I would see her maybe once a week, and sometimes if she was having a struggle or she wanted me to drive her to school or whatever, I'd take her just so we could hang out or go get a coffee or whatever.
Okay. And then one last question, then I'll turn it over to you, Jill, to start with. Did you remarry Mike, or are you single?
I did 8 months ago.
Okay. All right. Jill?
Wow, Mike, you've been through a lot, but it also sounds like you've also figured out a lot. And certainly with anybody that has borderline personality symptoms or traits, features, you need to set boundaries with. And they have to be firm, and they do not like them, and they will kick and scream, as you know. So it sounds like part of dealing with your youngest daughter is that you are having to go back. And it's hard because you've already been through this with her mother. And so it's heartbreaking to see it in one of your children, right?
And it's definitely triggering, too. When I interact with her, I really have to have a lot of self-control to realize that, okay, this is not her.
Right.
She's not her mother. And I'm reacting to things from the past that maybe haven't been resolved or are just coming up.
Right. And so for you to have people that you're talking to so that you stay really clear on that it's similar, it's familiar, she certainly learned things from her mom, but she isn't her mom, and you're her dad, not her husband, right? And so it is important that you set those boundaries, and it's more important that you be that firm, consistent, loving person in her life that has boundaries than really how connected you guys are, right? She's going to need to push and pull and hit up against you, and that's part of being that parental guide rail for her. So it's meaning it's not going to feel good. You're not going to feel like you guys have a close relationship. I do like the idea of that you are wanting her to, reconcile, right? I'm here for you, but we don't go back to business as usual just because you're at a different point in the cycle, right? And maybe you're not raging at this moment, but we still, follow a consistent pattern and plan. And I think continuing to invite her into healthy relating, going out like you've been doing, sounds like you're doing a great job in that way, Mike. It's just really, really difficult.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
I have another question before we
It's like
turn
hell.
it to JJ. Do you have, is she getting any help at all? Any therapy? Have you guys done any work?
So she is with a therapist, and the therapist is actually the one who recommended the eggshell book for me to learn and understand the BPD. I'd never heard of it before that. And I don't have a background in mental health, but I have listened to you guys for 25 years, and just growing up, I won't go into all of it, but growing up, a lot of abuse. My biological dad tried to kill me. I was homeless, ate out of garbage cans. Really rough childhood, but by God's grace, your show, because I was so poor, I couldn't afford a therapist, had no insurance, and now I'm very, very blessed. My wife's actually a mental health professional, but we don't talk about this stuff because it's not appropriate for a marriage.
That's awesome.
And I've been in counseling for 2 years, just trying to learn how to live normal, because normal is so foreign to me.
Yeah.
Well, and normal is setting on a dryer, Mike. So be careful that's going to be. You don't want that. But I want to hear from JJ. Yeah, I want to know, JJ. His question originally, is does he back down, or how does he relate to the daughter?
Yeah, and I would say no. You don't back down on the boundaries, because the boundaries that you described, if you're accurate in your description, the boundaries that you described are not unreasonable, and they are designed for you as a family to have healthier relationships, and for your daughter to learn how to have really healthy relationships. And so, no, I don't think you back down on the boundaries. But that's the thing about boundaries, is that there's a consequence, there's a cost to boundaries. When I set a boundary, because again, the boundary is for me, I can't fix, change, or control others, so I can't control the other person's behavior. It's what I'm willing to let into my life. And there's a cost to it. If I say, hey, I only agree to let you in that closely if you, treat me with respect and don't curse me out, those sorts of things, right? And that if we have a blow up, we need to be reconciled. That other person may say, well, I'm not willing to do that. And then there's a cost to enforcing that boundary for myself. But we have to be willing to let the cost play out, because that's part of what brings about change. So I hear the music. I know we got to go to break. Yep. But the short answer is, Mike, no, don't change the boundaries.
Thank you, Mike, for listening for all these years. We're going to send you a copy of Understanding and Loving a Person with Borderline Personality Disorder.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family, or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step towards genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I was just talking to Jill on the break, and a lot of 17-year-olds can feel like they have borderline personality disorder. So that's also a part of that.
17 to 22.
Yeah,
right?
And I think even Mike referred to her as 17 going on 35. And, so it's all of that challenge that goes with it. But I had recommended understanding and loving a person with borderline personality disorder. It's a powerful tool when you are in a relationship with somebody who has this disorder, and it can be very confusing to walk through it. And as a parent, it can be really challenging. And we, it's try to balance that all is really hard. We're going to go back to the calls, and we're going to talk with Ron, who's calling us from Ashton, Maryland, listens on WAVA. Hello, Ron. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Yes, I'm calling for my cousin. Her son is planning to get a divorce from his wife, and the couple is probably in their 30s, I'm guessing, because I don't know them very well, but they're and I listen to New Life with some regularity and appreciate Steve Otterburn and all the people there with the Godly Counsel, and it just occurred to me that I wondered if this seemingly hopeless situation, which is supposed to take place in March, the divorce formally, could be averted or avoided if by one of the workshops. I'm thinking that intimacy in marriage, but I don't know the details of what's going on with the couple. So I'm not educated to know, but my question was to inquire about the workshops that might help a couple who are really planning they're standing on the precipice of getting a divorce.
Ron.
Go ahead, JJ.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay,
Jill,
I was going to
go first.
Yeah, I'll jump in. So, Ron, do you know, does this couple have children?
Yes, they have two very young children.
Okay. So one of the things it would be, I would talk to your cousin, they're the mother of her son, and talk to her about that. Even if they plan on getting a divorce, because they have children, right? Couples are always still in contact. Going to a workshop, an intensive like our marriage intensive, can help them in their co-parenting, because they will have to work together for the rest of their lives. So, best case scenario, it keeps them from going through with the divorce. Okay, but even if they get divorced, being better parents and working out some of their issues is only better for their children. So sometimes that's an angle.
Great insight, Jill. What I was going to say is JJ is one of our intensives presenters at the marriage intensive, Ron. So JJ, how would you direct Ron in this?
Yeah, I definitely believe that the marriage workshop would be probably the most directly beneficial to what I don't know what the relationship is. The son of your cousin,
second cousin.
I don't know what. I have no idea. Is that a second cousin?
Yeah.
Whatever that would be.
Second cousin.
That probably that would be the most beneficial for the situation that they're in. And I like Jill's approach of saying, look, even if the marriage is unsalvageable, you will be connected to one another through your children for the rest of their lives. And so hey, wouldn't it be great if you could at least work on the ways that you relate to each other as co-parents? But it may be possible that as they go through the workshop and learn about some of the things that are behind the scenes driving the way they interact with each other that they may not even be aware of yet, that may be enough to help them get unstuck and feel like, oh, we could actually change the way we relate to one another rather than it feeling like this already predetermined, there's no way we can ever get along and we have to move toward divorce.
Yeah. Now, is that something that's available in February, later February?
Yes. JJ, yes, it is, Ron. It's going to be in Orange County, California, on the tomorrow.
16th,
We're going to start tomorrow, the 16th.
Oh, wow.
But JJ, let's talk about what do we present at this intensive to give Ron an idea and our listeners an idea of what we talk about there.
Yeah. So one of the sessions we talk about attachment style, which is the way that we relate, and what are the things that lead us to relate the way we do. And so often those are families of origin stories that we need to look at and unpack. We also talk about the impact of trauma on our lives. We talk about the importance of learning how to play as a way to relate to one another. And we also talk about the need to focus on me. I can't fix you, right? If my focus is on you behaving differently, that's a no-win proposition. But if I can focus on how I need to change for us to have a better relationship, that's really helpful, because no matter what, even if it did end in divorce, I still take me with me into the next relationship. And so me working on the stuff that I bring in is really helpful for me in the long run.
Well, and Jill, like you were saying, when you're talking about divorce and parenting, you still have work to do, because you are raising these kids. You're going to be interacting with them.
Right.
And so if somebody's listening and they're at this precipice of do we stay or do we go,
Right.
how would you encourage them to learn more about themselves in this process?
Right. Well, I think it's the saddest thing when a family falls apart, right? And regardless of where a person wants to place the blame, everyone has a part in it. And so in order to move forward, right, it's really a myth to think that, well, I just didn't have the right person, right? We really have to examine ourselves and have a time of reflection. And so I think being able to do it within the current relationship just makes so much more sense, because you're going to have to do it with or without this person. It's just, more complicated the more people you add to the equation in life. And so if you don't reflect and work on things in this relationship, some variation will get recreated in the next relationship. So
Ron, we will send
even if the statement. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Becky.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, even if the statement were true, what Jill just said, even if the statement were true that I just picked the wrong person, I was just with the wrong person, well, I at least, which, by the way, that's never true, but even if it was, I need to look at, well, why did I choose to be in a relationship with the wrong person? There's some stuff going on there for me that I need to unpack, because otherwise I will choose the wrong person again.
That's so true. Well, Ron, we hope that something we've said will encourage you to share this news with your second cousin. And we're going to send you a copy of How We Love, and we'll get you connected with some information about the intensive, and hopefully that they will make the choice to join us there. I just want to say thank you to our Club New Life family who gives on a regular basis. There's so many benefits that you get when you join Club New Life, but the biggest benefit is knowing that you are helping people find transformation in their life. So thank you, Club New Life. If you want to join, you can call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll get you connected. Thank you, Jill, and thank you, JJ, and thank you, listeners, for joining us today. Share New Life with a friend. You may change their life. It probably has changed yours.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.